you have more than $1 billion losses on the streets of Pakistan in terms of the economy, the economic losses, the way the country was brought to standstill, and the part of the non-political actors, i.e. Mr. Malik and Mr. Naik, who are considered as his cronies.
Mr. Zardari may not survive, but the PPP government will survive because the Americans want it. I understand from you, you're saying that the Americans want a democracy to flourish in Pakistan. I really, again, do not even attach noble intentions to the Americans. They're looking after their interest. They facilitated this government to come into power. They're using democracy in Pakistan, the Americans, to contain the Pakistani military, Pakistani intelligence, the ISI, the Pakistani strategic program, nuclear programs. It is now in the American interest to have multiple players in Pakistan whom they can use to check the military. And they do not want the military to be reinvited back into power.
Right.
They did their level best this time to save the government that they helped actually in the first place come to power.
Gentlemen, this is exactly the sort of passionate dialogue that we love to see on Four Corners, and I thank you very much for engaging with each other so convivially. I want to turn your attention, if I might, and the attention of our viewers now a little bit more towards the internal politics of Pakistan, having given your purview to the external effects of the decision. So far as what has happened today, or in the last 24 hours,
sort of a lot of damage on the state of Pakistan in terms of his one phone call support to the war on terror, and the other damage he has done. And I think Mr. Zardari's government has become like, and as many people say, the extension of President Musharraf. But as far as the Prime Minister's actions or Parliament's actions are concerned, they very well understand on the street, in the Parliament, what Mr. Zardari's agenda is, and what the American agenda is, and what the state of Pakistan's agenda is. And I think that there needs to be a clear distinction between the interest of the state of Pakistan as well as the interest of the foreign. I think the Americans themselves are not very sure where they want to go, basically. They are quite confused in terms of the future of war on terror. And I think they should look for an exit strategy from Afghanistan. Sooner the better. They have their own crisis going on, i.e. the credit crunch, the financial crisis, and I think it's time for the Americans to look for the financial terrorists in the United States who
Pakistanis who have been campaigning to change this constitution. I couldn't agree more with you that this constitution has basically created a failed political system in Pakistan that constantly generates crises. We have finished with this crisis. And I'm sure we have a lull right now, but it's not going to be very long before we have another crisis on our hand.
And Mr. Qureshi, are the politicians, is the political class strong enough, available enough to carry forward an agenda that actually serves that purpose? Or are they so interested in self-service that they're not able to deliver?
Pakistani democracy, if ever a democracy could turn into horror, it is Pakistani democracy, the democracy in Pakistan.
Ran off with more than $1 trillion.
Well, Dr.
Then
Qureshi,
they're looking for a...
Dr. Qureshi, thank you for the comments. However, I would be grateful, gentlemen, if we could turn it a little bit towards Islamabad and Rawalpindi and Karachi and look at what this means in those places. I do understand that obviously the United States has got a major role in the destiny of Pakistan at this moment in time, particularly because President Obama seems to have focused so much on that region and particularly on Pakistan. But let's just talk about the legacy that President Musharraf left behind, Ahmed Qureshi. He left behind, as I've suggested, no constitution, and Sheikh Qureshi was talking about the fact that there is now direct rule in Punjab and that is constitutional. Under which constitution is it constitutional? 2003, 98, 73, which one? Under one it isn't, under another it is. So where do Pakistanis now go, politically and in terms of policy making, in order to assert their values, in order to identify where they want to be going in the future, Ahmed Qureshi?
Well, I'm one of those Pakistani politicians is a closed club of elites, feudal elites. Pakistani political parties are basically hereditary parties, Pakistanis who have been campaigning to change this constitution. I couldn't agree more with you that this constitution has basically created a failed political system in Pakistan that constantly generates crises. We have finished with this crisis, and I'm sure we have a lull right now, but it's not going to be very long before we have another crisis on our hand.
And Mr.
This
Qureshi,
is a political system.
And Mr. Qureshi, are the politicians, is the political class strong enough, available enough to carry forward an agenda that actually serves that purpose? Or are they so interested in self-service that they're not able to deliver?
Pakistani democracy, if ever a democracy could turn into horror, it is Pakistani democracy, the democracy in Pakistan. Pakistani politicians is a closed club of elites, feudal elites. Pakistani political parties are basically hereditary parties run by families. Most middle class and lower class Pakistanis cannot even dream of holding any senior offices within any of the Pakistani political parties. Right now, unfortunately, in Pakistan, we have parties that are based either on language, ethnicity, or religion, or sectarian parties.
And Shahid Qureshi, very briefly, sir, we're almost out of time, if you would. Is this going to see the beginning of the end so far as the depoliticization of the judiciary is concerned in Pakistan? Is there now a watershed, and will the judiciary now be able to emerge independent once again from the political class?
Well, I think it's time for the lawyers to step back and let the politicians in the parliament decide the future of sort of a judicial movement they started, the kind of amendments, the legislation is required. But as far as the constitutional changes are required in the constitution, I think they can be done in the parliament. And I agree with Ahmed Qureshi when he says that the democracy is like a democratic PLC, the family democracy. I totally agree with him.
I have to stop you there. I thank you so much. And that was Four Corners. I'd like to thank Dr. Shahid Qureshi and Ahmed Qureshi for their purview of the Pakistani political panorama, and of course you for watching. If you've missed any part of the program or would like to watch again, then why not log on to the website, and please use the usual email address to send us your correspondence. Four Corners returns on.